Uh, Greetings, good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever time it is that you're watching this video. My name is Richard Taylor, author of Wrestlers with Death, Wrongfully Accused, Rightfully Acquitted, some other works. Coming today with another one of my Tuesday testimonies. Um, and I'm just get right back into it. This is a testimony once again of a dangerous situation that I was fortunate enough to survive and overcome. This incident happened on July the 4th, 2011, as the caption says, it's July 4th, but just to give you a little backdrop on it, I moved back to Goldsboro in 2009 after being shot a few times, and I just wanted to change my life. However, I ran into some obstacles in that, and I also fell into some some bad ways that I didn't really leave behind. So it all boils up to this. On July 4th or July 3rd of that year, I decided I'm going to go back to Virginia and I'm going to pick up where I left off, which was, selling cocaine. And so I purchased some cocaine from someone down here, about an ounce, not that much. Well, there's a lot if, you get caught with it. But so I purchased an ounce and called all of my people from Virginia that I used to deal to. And I called them, I told them I had some good stuff, and, that was that. I drove to Virginia on July 3rd. And then July 4th, I began to go out in the public and meet certain people and, call all of my past customers, and they were happy to hear from me because I always kept some pretty good product. And nevertheless, I went around that day, rode out to all the places that I used to frequent, and by the end of the night, I had one more drop to do. It was a guy who called me, and I went out to him. He said he wanted one thing, but when I got there, he said he didn't have enough for it. So I still sold him what he wanted. Then I had approximately about 2 grams of cocaine left. So at this point, I get up with some of my old running buddies from Virginia. And, we go out. It's 4th of July weekend, so the beach is packed, slam packed. We go to the beach. We round up everybody, get all of our boys. And we go to this party at the beach. And, by the time the beach closed, it's like 2 o'clock. So everybody, we figuring out the next move. So couple of... It's like 2 carloads of us. So one car said it's about to go to a strip party, and another car was like, "Nah, we're gonna go somewhere else." So I was torn in between which car to get into, but I got into the car that was going to the strip party, and they was like, the other car was just telling me to come on, get in this car, go in this car. And in retrospect, once again, I always feel like God was trying to keep me from the situation. Nevertheless, I went into the car, and we went to the strip party. After hours strip party, it was on Virginia Beach Boulevard, and we get into the strip party, and I see this girl who I used to mess with, and we talking, and as I begin to walk around the strip party, I just see, just everybody doing the normal thing, drinking, smoking, talking, But then I see this one guy with a big gun, just slung over his shoulder, walking around, talking to girls. We had this big, machine gun. So at that point, I'm like, man, this ain't even the place for me to be right now. And so, I think my boys was like, yeah, come on, let's go. So everybody went outside. We still congregating. People are outside. Cars are outside. And so I see this group of girls in the car. And I go up to their car and I'm just talking to them. I'm bent over, bent over the window, leaning into the car, talking to the girl on the passenger side. And, we're talking. And then all of a sudden I hear somebody say, hey, man, watch out, man. Watch out. So I looked, and I see this guy, trying to get past me. And by the time he say, "Watch out," gunshots just started to ring out. Da 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 da, like it's a barrage of gunfire. And so I immediately duck and I run away from the car. I run to the street, I run out of the parking lot towards the street. And I begin to run. I just, run. Anytime you hear gunfire, you just run. You don't care where you run into. You're just trying to run away from the gunfire. And fortunately, I got away. I got out the scene. And I was down the street by a couple of blocks, and I called my boys to see where they was at. And so he was calling. They was going, "Where you at? Where you at?" I said, "I'm down the street, man. Where y'all at?" He said, "Man, we in the car, man. Black got shot. Black got shot. One of the dudes. Shout out to Boss Black. But one of the dudes that I was with, he had got hit in the gunfire. So I was like, "Well, I'm right here on the street, man. Come get me." But once again, they're in a rush because they see their friend shot. It's like, man, we gotta go to the hospital. We taking him to the hospital. So I was like, all right, it's a bet. So I'm steady walking down the street, Virginia Beach Boulevard, just, thinking my next move. But then no sooner I get a couple of blocks down, here come the police. Woo! And so they accost me, and I see them coming. And I realized that I had the 2 grams of cocaine still in my pocket. So I stuffed them in my drawers, and they stopped me, and they said, "Where are you coming from?" We had a report of gunshots. I said, "No, no, not me. I just came in town for the night. I'm living in North Carolina. Blah blah blah." And I said, "Y'all can search me. Look, here's my ID." So I handed my ID, and they're like, "Okay, just wait here, Mr. Taylor." So they take my ID, and they look at it, and then they come back and say, "You have a warrant for probation violation because of a driving violation that I did get in North Carolina." And so, once again, in Virginia Beach, they don't play with probation violations. So, of course, they took me to jail. And surprisingly, uh, I went before the magistrate, and the magistrate gave me a bond. And she gave me that bond, and the bond was 5,000. And by this time, it's 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, and so I called one of my old Bell's Bonds friends. He said, "Okay, man, look, man, just give me some time. Man, it's early right now, man. I'll be there in the morning to get you about 9, right?" So I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna wait for him." But then, I realized once again I had the cocaine on me, so they had me in a holding cell. And mind you, I still was using cocaine at this time, so I had been using, prior to the night. And so they put me in a holding cell in the back. And instead of flushing the cocaine, I was in the cell sniffing the cocaine. And once again, like I talked about addiction, how insane it is. But yeah, this has got to be, real insane. I'm in the jail cell, and I'm every 5 or 10 minutes I'm ducking behind the toilet stool sniffing cocaine in the jail. And so at this point, I'm getting rowdy, I'm getting hype, I'm rapping, I'm screaming through the cell, "Man, hurry up, let me go upstairs, or let me dress out or something." Once again, I I'm in the cell, I'm getting high in the cell. So finally the guards downstairs get tired of me yelling. And so they get tired of me, and they say, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna dress you out, Mr. Taylor." I'm like, "Please, thank God." So once again, I still had the cocaine stuffed in my drawers. Now, once again, in retrospect, I should have flushed it right then. Nevertheless, once again, you don't make the best decisions when you're high off cocaine or drugs or alcohol. So I I went to the back where they dress you out. Of course, they strip search you. Now, so my thinking, my weird thinking was, okay, when it gets down to my drawers, I'm gonna take the drugs out and try to put them in my mouth. I don't know why I thought that was gonna work, but That's what I tried to do. So I'm stripping down, take off my shirts, my pants, my socks. It gets to the drawers. So I step out of my drawers and I grab the cocaine and, I grab it, and I try to slide my drawers off at the same time. And the, uh, the officer said, what's in your hand or something like that. And nevertheless, I tried to still put it in my mouth. He said, "You got some in your hand?" So I said, "Nope." I put it in my mouth, and he instantly jumped on me and grabbed my neck before I could get it down. So he started screaming for other deputies. Now I'm butt naked, and trying to get these drugs down in the system, so I don't get another charge. Nevertheless, they about six or five more deputies came and they jumped on me. They jumped on me. They put their knee in my back. They held my hands. They're prying at my mouth, prying at my lips, but I'm just still hold tight. By this time, I'm chewing the little bag up because I couldn't just swallow it now because they had. So I'm chewing the bag up, trying to get as much of the drugs down my system as I could, which could have probably killed me. But so I'm chewing, I'm opening my mouth. Then they get the doctor. The doctor's, the nurse. She pulls out a little tongue ladle where they use like for the dinner. She's trying to get it in my mouth. I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting. I'm still trying to show what they got me by my neck. And so at this point they can't get my mouth open. So one sheriff, and this was, I mean, I guess it was smart, but it also once again could have killed me. One sheriff holds my nose like this. So he holds my nose so I can't breathe, but I'm still trying to get this stuff down. So finally, I realized, okay, I have to breathe. So I opened my mouth, and by this time I had chewed all I chewed the bag to pieces, but they did get the bag out of my mouth, which was, filled with residue. And at this point, I'm just like, and now the drugs are taking effect, which is numbing my mouth, is numbing, my heart's racing. I try to ingest, I swallowed, a large amount of the stuff. And um, I was just, at this point, I was just, kind of high already, but I was really high. I was disoriented. I thought, because my mouth was so numb, I thought the lady had cut my lip off. And I was just screaming, "When you cut my lip off, you cut my lip." I was delusional. I was all of those things, but I survived that incident, and they put me into um, what they call solitary confinement. They gave me some sort of shot. I still remember they didn't they gave me some sort of shot. I guess it was to calm the drugs down or whatever. But I sat in the cell for like 3 days, and then they put me in the regular population and ended up charging me with possession of cocaine by an inmate, in addition to the probation charge. But that just showed me once again what the sheriff would hold my nose, and if I didn't open my mouth, I would have died. And if that would have happened, they would have put, in the papers or, in the report, though, he died, he choked off a bag of cocaine, he overdosed or something. But no, that, they were willing to kill me just to get that little piece of cocaine out of my mouth. And, of course, having the cocaine is wrong. That is a charge, but, I don't think that you should put somebody's life in danger just to, get that substance and be able to charge somebody. Now, of course, once again, I shouldn't have had it in the first place, and even trying to swallow it could have killed me, myself. But once again, that just showed me that they will actually kill you just to pin a charge on you. And actually, later on in my stay there, I stayed eventually like 6 months. An inmate actually, quote unquote, choked on their wristband. And, considering what I went through, I was like, that don't even sound right. But that's another story for another time. But I just wanted to tell that story because God saved me not only from that sheriff, and the ingesting the cocaine, but also from the gunshots. Because later on that week, detectives that were investigating the shooting, they came to my cell and they brought me out, and they showed me the videotape and asked me did I know any of the shooters, and I did not, but they showed me on the tape, and it was like, that's you right there bending over talking to the girls. And I said, yeah. So I'm watching the video, and as the shots rang out, I see a guy about 4 feet from me fall with a gunshot wound. I'm actually looking at the car that I was talking to, and the back window of the side that I was at got shattered out with a bullet. And actually, one of the girls that I was talking to in the car got shot as well. And then, of course, my man I went with Black, he got shot. And I'm just looking at that, and they was like, "Man, you're sure lucky. Like I don't understand why you got shot, why you didn't get shot." And I'm just looking at that, and I'm thinking, "Wow, yeah, I could have, like the person I'm talking to when the car got shot, the window of the car, right beside me got shot out, and I was able to see that, and once again." In retrospect, I wasn't even thinking about it then, but in retrospect, once again, God saved me from certain death or at least certain injury. I don't think nobody died in that shooting that night, but I think it was about 5 or 6 people who got shot. And fortunately, I was able to escape that situation without a gunshot wound. And once again, I'm just thankful for God, and once again, God does have a way to allow situations to set you back down again, because that was my second day in Virginia with hopes to, okay, I want to start right where I left off. And he allowed those things, he allowed me to make those decisions to put me in that position where, I was in a dangerous situation, but also he allowed me to go back to jail that same night for 6 months, in which I was able to just look at my life. I think at the time I was 33, and I was like, man, I got to stop this. I got to find something to do. And after that, in 2011, that's when I did go back to college, and the next year I did publish my book, and I did start on the right path to doing some good things. And once again, during that time, the jail time, I always reached back into my faith, which was God. And he allowed me to see certain things, and he allowed me to, just make certain plans that in which I did fulfill. But I am once again thankful for God for sparing me, in that situation, and also for keeping me even, from ingesting those drugs, from the choking by the sheriffs, from the gunshots. I'm just thankful. And this wasn't nothing I was going to plan to talk about, but this just did come up, and I remember that, and I remember how God kept me in that situation. So this just has been your Tuesday testimony. I give honor to God just for allowing me to be here today and talk about these things, and hopefully this has been an encouragement. This has been an inspiration to somebody who has been through some things. But this is just, not to glorify any of the actions, but also just to show that God is a keeper. He's a deliverer. And there's certain things that we do that we don't know why what happened to us, but then in the long run we begin to see that it's all part of God's perfect plan. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. This has been Richard Taylor with my Tuesday testimony, and I look forward to, again next week to doing a testimony as well. But I thank you guys for listening. God bless you. Stay safe and all that good stuff. Peace.